Welcome to the show, everybody. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Nice to have you along for the ride. Happy Friday! It's Friday, everybody. That's exciting. You might have watched Thursday Night Football last night and the dud of the game that turned out to be. I guess the Thursday Night game just a little curse there. We'll get into that team a little bit here. Talking about Lamar Jackson, the Baltimore Ravens, Joe Burrow going out, Mark Andrews going out. I know that might upset some people with their fantasy football teams. We'll get into the 76ers. They're back in action tonight against the Atlanta Hawks. And above all else, the Philadelphia Eagles officially came back from their bye week yesterday. Nick Sirianni addressed the media. Jason Kelsey addressed the media. Jordan Mailata was at his locker yesterday talking about how he takes this game personally and trying to make sure he clarified that statement as if, I guess, to not be offensive to the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know. We'll dissect it. And also, Jalen Hurts addressed the media yesterday. And ladies and gentlemen, probably the best news of yesterday was, ta-da, this injury report. Other than Dallas Goedert having surgery, we knew that. We knew that. We were fine with that. We're not fine with it, but you understand. Justin Evans, limited participant. Always going to be good to have another safety up and running back there. And then full participants at practice. Bradley Roby, Cam Jurgens, full participants at practice as expected. No setbacks. So they were out there yesterday. Great to know that. Great to see that. And hopefully no other setbacks between now and Monday night in Kansas City against the Chiefs. Now, here's the other thing. Grant Calcaterra, of course, coming back from the concussion. You know, you have Dallas Goedert down already, so you need all the tight ends. Just like you need safeties, just like you need members of the secondary, like Bradley Roby and Justin Evans, you need tight ends, and Grant Calcaterra being a full participant in practice is a beautiful sight as well, because you're going to need each and every one of those guys for this gauntlet of games that we've talked so much about. It is going to be a rough stretch of road here for the Philadelphia Eagles, and to be healthy during this point in the season would be an absolute gift, or at least as close to healthy as you could be, because we're not going to be seeing Dallas Goedert. Now, one of the things Nick Sirianni got into, and I don't have this clip for you, but we'll get into it a little bit later. One of the things he did get into was Dallas Goedert, and he was asked about the importance of Dallas Goedert, and next man up mentality is basically what it breaks down to. So if you're Grant Calcaterra, if you're Jack Stoll, if you're Jack Stoll, whoever you may be, if you're putting on a tight end uniform, if you're Big O, you better get out there and you better be ready to go, because this team is going to need you drastically in the run game. They might even need you to make a catch or two in the pass game. So just be ready to party. Just be ready to party. When it comes to everybody else and every other offensive weapon on this team, they have a huge task in front of them. And a lot of people yesterday were asked about whether or not this game is an extra added motivating factor, being that it's a revenge game for the Super Bowl. Everyone said, yeah, no, I don't really need it. The only person that said it was Jordan Mailata. This is, for me, it's personal. I would think any athlete, if they're being honest, if they lost a championship less than a year prior to that jersey, to that team, to that city, to that player that's on the other side of the football field, you're going up against one-on-one, two-on-one, whatever the case may be as the game goes on, and you lose the biggest game of your life, I would assume revenge might be strong, but extra added motivation, certainly. Anytime you lose, think about this, anytime you lose to a team, I'm sure there is that little extra added motivation next time around to make sure that I do this right the next time. Well, imagine that game now is not just some regular season game. It's the biggest game of your life. So anyone yesterday was like, it's just another game. I'm like, no, liar. You liar. We'll get into that conversation. We'll get into the conversation Nick Sirianni had yesterday when it came to the Kansas City Chiefs and what he learned from the film, watching the film of the Super Bowl last year. I found it very interesting because I think it really encapsulates who Nick Sirianni is as a head coach. And the constant thing that I give him credit for is very simple. It's having his team ready to play each and every game day. Each and every game day, he's got his team ready to play. Other teams will be losing focus. Other teams will go off the beaten path. Other teams won't be able to have that kind of motivation for each and every game. But somehow, magically, Nick Sirianni's team, not just talented, thank you, Howie Roseman, but his motivated talent And that's where Nick Sirianni falls in. And that to me is absolutely fantastic. That's what makes him such a great coach. Jason Kelce was the only one yesterday that talked about what Kansas City is doing so different than yesterday. Yesterday, I had a lot of guest hits this week. Yesterday, I did a guest hit with Kansas City Radio. And they were asking about what jumps out to me about this Kansas City team. And what's that? Well, I mean, their defense. Their defense is playing incredibly well. And one of the best defenses in the league. The Ravens allowed 20 points last night, so their average might go up a few ticks. I don't think it beat the Kansas City Chiefs, or I think it's still beating the Kansas City Chiefs. But at every spot, the Kansas City Chiefs has somebody that can beat you. Maybe not at a astounding rate, but this year their defense has been the star of the show. The biggest difference to me about last year's Kansas City Chiefs team and this year's Kansas City Chiefs team is that their defense is kicked it into high gear. Steve Spagnuolo, whatever he has done with his defense, he has made it play that much better than what we saw a year ago. The only thing that's different to me on offense, I mean, obviously they're not scoring the points that they did, but in terms of a more specific thing, is that Patrick Mahomes is running the football more than he ever has in his entire career. It's incredible. And Jason Kelce talked about that yesterday when it came to what he sees as a very different thing from this year's team compared to last year's Kansas City Chiefs team. Here's Jason Kelce breaking that down.
We're more just focused on this one. They're a much different team right now. Defense is playing unbelievable football. Their offense always does with the playmakers that they have, the quarterback they have, and Pat Mahomes and Andy Reid. But I think the thing that really stands out that's drastically different is their defense is playing really, really good football right now. They play well as a unit. They have great players. Spagnuolo played against him a lot, and he's doing some really, really good things right now for them. So we're very much trying to prepare for this game.
It's drastically different. And if you watch the Kansas City Chiefs throughout this season, you know that. And it's not just Chris Jones just being a dominant force defensively in the middle of that line of scrimmage. It's the entire unit. It's the whole team being dominant for that Kansas City Chiefs defense. As far as the revenge factor, here's Jason Kelce again breaking that down because it's just not something that he buys into.
To even use it.
Nope.
So how long?
It's not the same game. I mean, I'm motivated to win the game. I don't need the Super Bowl to motivate me to beat my brother or Andy Reid. And, I've never beat them in my career. I'm more motivated maybe by that. But, I don't buy into Super Bowl revenge games or, each season is different. This team is not the same. That team is not the same. Nothing that goes out there and happens on Monday night is going to at all change or make anything different about what happened last year.
I think that's the right attitude for the most part, but he's got a little bit of an interesting take on it, considering he was drafted by Andy Reid and his brother plays on the other side of the football field. It's a little bit different there. I love the idea that he's more motivated by the idea that he hasn't beaten those guys ever. He'd like to do that, beat the guy that drafted him, beat his brother, have some semblance of bragging rights, at least the latest time we got you. Hey, we still got you in the Super Bowl. But yeah, sure. But I'm sure he'd like to add that notch to his belt when it comes to beating Andy Reid and it comes to beating his brother. I like the idea that that's more of the motivating factor there. But you still can't sell me on the idea that it's anything like any other game that you're going to play, especially when you lose a Super Bowl to this team. And the other thing that goes on top of this is the Jordan Mailata comment about how this is personal. Good for you, Jordan Mailata. You said out loud what I think most people are just thinking, what most people are feeling, but they're not voicing that opinion, that this game is personal to them because of the Super Bowl. How can it not be personal to you? As a professional athlete, how could it not be personal to you to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Whether it's a Monday night game, whether it's any other game other than the Super Bowl, how can you not? You worked your ass off for 5 years, Jordan Mailata, to go from a rugby player, a slim rugby player, still big, but slim compared to what he is now, to now become a Pro Bowl quality left tackle. And you go and you play the biggest game of your career and you lose to that team. If that's not personal, if that's not something special that you got in your back pocket, oh goodness gracious, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. And yesterday, he makes the comment and then he clarifies it at his locker, and he's just like, "Yeah, of course it's personal for me. I can only speak for myself, but I don't like to lose. Period." But when it comes to losing the Super Bowl, yeah, that's kind of the next level a little bit. I love that he said it out loud, and I don't think that's any bulletin board material. I love that he stuck by it. Some people took it as, he walked it back. I didn't hear it as walking back at all. And what are the Kansas City Chiefs going to do? Oh, this guy took it personal to lose the Super Bowl. Yeah, I would hope everyone would take it kind of personal. Jalen Hurts has the Super Bowl as his background on his lock screen on his phone. Him walking off the field, confetti flying with the Chiefs colors. If that's not motivation, okay, yeah. Oh, Jalen Hurts is just another game? That's cute. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. It's okay to admit it because I think everybody knows it already. Everybody knows it already. And the funny thing is, I didn't hear from any defensive players yesterday. I guess we'll hear from those guys today. But to me, the people that have the ultimate thing to prove, above all else, it's not just your defensive line, but more specifically, it's Josh Sweat, it's Hassan Reddick, it's Brandon Graham. It's these guys that played in the Super Bowl last year, couldn't get that angle, allegedly because of the field, and now have an opportunity to disrupt the timing of Patrick Mahomes in the backfield. Those are the guys that I think will have a little extra added motivation. We couldn't play at our best due to the conditions last time around. Now it's our time to prove that it was the conditions last time around. Those are the guys above all else. Yeah, everyone. If you put everyone on a line, then everyone, I think, has motivation to beat this team. But if you were to take the next level up and say, all right, who really has extra added motivation to win? I would go right to your edge rushers. Next people up. Jalen Hurts is a quarterback. It's always the quarterback getting too much blame and all that stuff and too much praise, blah, blah, blah. You know. But other than that fumble that people just choose to ignore happen, other than that, he played a phenomenal game. One of the highest rated games ever by a quarterback. And you mean to tell me that game isn't a little extra added motivation for him? Because if Jalen Hurts is a Super Bowl winning quarterback at this point in his career, bye-bye doubters. Like, no doubters allowed. But now because he lost, there's still doubters. They're few and far between now. We're weeding them out. A little extra added motivation in this game, certainly. And let's not act for a second like the NFC East is completely tied up. They still got to keep winning. The tough stretch of games, it's going to be just that. I see them still doing well because I have the Eagles as the elite of the elite teams. But that doesn't mean it's going to be easy. And if there's a fumble here, a tipped pass interception that goes the other way, if there's anything like that, I could turn the tides of this game. All these games, the next 5 games here, with the exception of the Bills because they turn the ball over at an alarming rate. The 5 games you have on this stretch, these could be 1-possession games. These could be 2-possession games. They come down to the 2-minute drill. These games could all come down to that final field goal as time expires. So the mistakes, the focus, that all has to be at the top of its game. Pulling focus, without question, pulling focus. And obviously not making the big mistakes in the game. Teams that make the fewer mistakes, teams that don't turn the football over as much, those are the teams that are going to win this next 5 games or the next 5-game stretch that the Eagles have. Speaking of motivation, that's one thing that Nick Sirianni got into yesterday, and I find this amazing because this is what I feel separates him from the rest of the pack. He was asked about Jordan Mailata's comments about this game being personal, and here's how Nick Sirianni took that comment.
Any week, you can turn any week in the NFL into, I'm going to get up for this one right here. Like, our job is to make sure it's mentally challenging, and you have to be mentally tough to get up for every game the same every single week. And we try to pride ourselves on being mentally tough. And I know, and I hear Jordan, I hear what he said on as far as that's personal. And you know what? The important thing is if you look for any ways to find motivation, but it is important that each and every week you're locked in and have that mental toughness to go to work the same, whether you're playing Team A or the team that beat you in the Super Bowl last year. You got to have that mental toughness to go about your business that way. But if the motivation for Jordan is helping him and he's not distracted by it, by all means use it. If the motivation is distracting to you, then don't use it. So for some guys, it's going to be we're going to treat every week the same and get ready just the same, just like I said last week going into the Cowboys game. But if you can use that for extra motivation, then go ahead. If it's distraction, then leave it aside.
Whatever helps, basically. Whatever helps. But that line that he says at the beginning of that cut about everybody has to have focus, everyone can find motivation in any game and make any game on the schedule personal. I think that's a line that kind of describes the Michael Jordan good game mentality, even though Jordan made up that story. Well, yeah, hey, good game. Well, this dude just said good game to me. I'm going to kill this guy. Anybody can find anything and make it bulletin board material. Easy, very accurate statement. But what I think Nick Sirianni does better than anybody is find that note, find that hook to make guys pay a little extra attention to the game on the schedule that's right in front of them. Not in 2 weeks, not in 3 weeks, not 5 games from now. No, it's this game, why this game is the most important thing in the world right now. This is why you have to win this game. We're not in the meeting rooms, and we're not on the sidelines. We're not listening in to who's calling the plays. We are under the assumption that Brian Johnson, that's his show, to call the plays. Nick Sirianni, as it's come out in recent weeks, a few little tidbits here and there, and Nick Sirianni has a little bit more to do with the play calling than we originally thought. Last year, when he admitted that Shane Steichen had taken over the play calling responsibilities, he said, yeah, during the week, I'm going to be doing the game plan, and then on game day, it'll be Shane Steichen. Now it seems, yes, he's still doing very much a lot of the game plan, and now he's doing a little bit more of the play calling. And you know what? I'll tell you how I feel about it. I am just fine and dandy with it. Whatever you got to do to make sure that you win. Whatever you got to do to make sure that the offense has some kind of flow to it, some kind of rhythm to it. Because there are times here with Brian Johnson where it just doesn't feel like that rhythm has been established. So we're not in the meeting room seeing how much Nick Sirianni is doing with the game plan. I would assume as the head coach, he's got a lot to do with the game plan. We're not on the sidelines listening in, but it certainly sounds like Nick Sirianni is calling a couple more plays than just, it's 4th and 3. Yeah, we're going to go for it. Oh, it's 4th and 2 from the goal line. We're going to go for it. It seems like he's doing a little bit more than that. I kicked the field goal. It seems like he's doing a little bit more than that when it comes to play calling. I'm curious in the second half of the season what Brian Johnson does and how this offense looks in the second half of the year against the upper echelon opponents, especially that they're going to face. Again, that part of it goes without saying, but just in general, I want to see how this offense clicks in the second half of the year. They don't click without that motivation. They don't click without that focus. And that's something that stems from Nick Sirianni and the attitude that he sets in that locker room. The first question he was asked, other than if you saw him right there, for the people on the podcast, I was a bit alarmed when I saw Nick Sirianni sit down in his seat yesterday for his press conference because he had a Kansas City Chiefs colored shirt on. Turns out it's the shirt of his high school and now his niece's high school. She's got a big game coming up, so he wanted to support his niece. Lovely. But listening to him yesterday, the first question he was asked, legit question about football, was what was the message to the team? Next year, I just said, it's all right. We're back at work. That's the message. Doesn't need to say much more to the team than that. And I think part of it isn't just because he knows how to motivate and he'll get them to that point during meetings throughout this week, whatever. It's the Kansas City Chiefs. To break it down to its simplest sense, what more information do you need to know than the Kansas City Chiefs are 7-2 and the Philadelphia Eagles are 8-1? And these teams met in the Super Bowl last year where the Chiefs had a great comeback win in the second half to beat the Eagles. What more do you need to know? What do you need to say as a head coach to make sure that this team has the right focus, has the right motivation? What more do you need to say? Hey, guys, you know that team we lost the biggest game of your life to last year? Oh, we're going to visit them this week. Okay, all right, you got that, and it's in prime time. Oh, okay. Oh, and they're also having a great year. They're 7-2. We're 8-1. So that you got it. Okay, we're done. Okay, we're done. All right, fine. I think that's really all you need to say. There's no rah-rah. There's no posting of the late great Bobby Knight with motivational quotes. You don't need anything like that. You just need those 3 simple facts. You lost to them in the Super Bowl, the biggest game of your life. Both teams are great. Oh, there's a little sugar on top. It's in prime time. Monday Night Football. Ready to party? Okay, well, let's party. Lot goes into it. Last thing I have for you guys is what I feel was the best news that we saw, other than the injury report. And Bradley Roby and Cam Jurgens look like they're going to be coming back here to play in this game. They will be coming back here to play in this game, so that's fantastic. Hopefully the Eagles run. I really hope that Cam Jurgens not being here was the only reason the Eagles' run game had really started to sputter. So I'll cross my fingers that that's the case. But the best thing that I saw and heard was Jalen Hurts feeling better. As far as that knee went, feeling a lot better. There's Jalen Hurts yesterday talking about the knee.
Today it looked like you weren't wearing that sleeve on your leg. Is that right?
I was not.
Is that a sign of progress?
Yeah, I think time is a sign of progress. As I said, the bye week came at a great time, and we all took advantage of that. I tried to take advantage of that time off, and everything is trending forward.
Good, baby! We're feeling good! Jalen Hurts over there. No knee brace. I'm all fine with it. I feel fantastic. Here's what I need. And it goes beyond just hearing that he has the knee brace off. That's a step in the right direction. He said one of the first things he talked about in his press conference yesterday was how not having, the bye week came at the right time, not just for him, for a lot of other people. He needed to throw more time and rest at the knee, essentially. He was kind of dancing around saying knee because he had been so adamant in the past about not talking about the injury again. So he took the opportunity to say, no, it's just the time is what helped it. Time. Okay. All right. Sounds good. But not having the knee brace on is great. What will be fantastic, what will be stupendous, and I heard the numbers recently. I think it was Bill Colarulo who was on the show with us on Tuesday. Bill was talking about how, what was it? Jalen Hurts is running the football around the same amount of times that he ran the football last year. That's not my issue. And quite frankly, it's not surprising. What is my issue is how he has looked on those runs. He has looked like a baby deer this year on those runs, as opposed to a gazelle in previous runs, in previous seasons while running the football. This year, very tentative, very hesitant, overly cautious. And I want to stress this because I'm not the guy that's saying, oh, he's going to get into another run. I'm not that guy. When Jalen Hurts runs the football in his career, with the exception of this year, there have been times, the LA Rams, he's run with reckless abandon. Okay. When he has run the football this year, baby deer. Other years, gazelle. But while he has run like a gazelle, for the most part, with few exceptions, and yes, unfortunately, the Chicago Bears game last year is one of those exceptions. He did not get down. He did not slide. He did not run out of bounds. He didn't, whatever. In years past, he has been very smart with how he runs the football. One of the things that drove me remember that guy Carson Wentz that was here in Philly? Remember that fella? One of the things that would drive me crazy about watching him run is that he couldn't slide. He wouldn't slide. He would not run smart. One of the things I loved about Jalen Hurts was he ran smart. He usually runs smart. 9 times out of 10, he'll run smart. Head up, get rid of the ball if there's no lane, slide, he'll get out of bounds, whatever the case may be. But this year, it seems like when he goes to run, there's that hesitant quality about his run. We've talked about it a lot. Game against the Buccaneers early in the season. This is why I still believe that the knee injury being suffered in the Jets game is BS. But he goes into that slide 5 yards short of the first down marker. What? First down short of the first down marker. We've seen him run hesitantly and tentatively at other games this season. That does not look like the Jalen Hurts that we have seen in years past. Is that him protecting the knee? Is that him just trying to be overly cautious because he knows if he gets hurt on the run again, things could go ballistic in this fan base and things will go south for this team real quick? I don't know. Maybe he saw Marcus Mariota play in the preseason and made a decision just then. Well, this guy ain't it, so I better not get injured. Maybe he saw. Maybe Marcus Mariota's play in the preseason motivated him to be like, I think I'm going to slide 10 yards short of the first down marker if I get a chance to run. Maybe. Of course, I'm kidding. But maybe. No. That's something with me with Jalen Hurts that I've certainly noticed this year. So as great as it is, a little nugget of information about how he doesn't have the knee brace on anymore, that's great. Good first step. What will make me feel a lot better about it is that if we see Jalen Hurts in this game have an opportunity to get a big run, a 15, 20-yard run, whatever the case may be, and he just books it down the field with the same speed, agility, quickness, and safety that we have seen in years past. Now, what do I mean by the safety? What do I mean by that? That means he gets to 15 yards down the line, or down 15 yards upfield, and he gets run out of bounds, or he runs out of bounds, or he goes into a slide. That is a smart play. That is playing safely. That is still doing the thing that the Eagles so commonly referred to in the early goings of preseason, the training camp. That's the thing that is called embracing the uniqueness of Jalen Hurts' game. I love the way that's put because I think that perfectly encapsulates what we're trying to do here, what we'd like to see here. You still see Jalen Hurts do the things that makes him very special, whether it's behind the line of scrimmage and he's just buying time, he's scrambling around back there waiting for somebody to get open, or he is deciding to go and he is deciding to book it. That right there, both situations, as long as he does it safely, I'm all fine. And that's all the uniqueness of his game. It's not just getting past the line of scrimmage and running. It's also what happens behind the line of scrimmage. That is the uniqueness of Jalen Hurts' game. I'll continue to embrace it, and I hope the Eagles do, and I hope Jalen Hurts is healthy enough to do that. And having that knee brace off, as was talked about yesterday, that's a great step in the right direction. Now I just need to see it all come to fruition. A.J. Brown has obviously been on one hell of a tear here. 6 of his last 7 games going into the bye weeks, at the NFL record for best streak of 125-plus yards in 6 straight games. A bit of a down game against the Dallas Cowboys, but hey, it is what it is. We'll get into more of this on Monday, but oh my goodness, looking at this team coming out of the bye week that they have to face in the Kansas City Chiefs, Drew Tranquill has 56 tackles for loss for the Kansas City Chiefs. They have 3 guys with 5.5 sacks at least: Mike Dana, Chris Jones, and I always butcher this gentleman's name, George Karlaftis. He has 6 sacks as well. These guys are playing at another level. I said tackles for loss. Total tackles. That's quite different. Excuse me. Drew Tranquill leads the team with total tackles this season, and he has played at a great level for this squad. And one of the things that's really amazing to me is that they have so many different guys that can beat you defensively. Their one caveat here of weakness is they're not great in the turnover game. Nobody in their secondary, nobody on their team, no linebacker, nobody has more than 1 interception on the season. So that's not really where they go and get you, the Kansas City Chiefs. They get you in other ways, whether it's tackles for loss, whether it's just being able to be aggressive at the line of scrimmage, whether it's just simply not allowing points. That's what the Kansas City Chiefs do so well. And they're not afraid to dial up the blitz, as we all know. Steve Spagnuolo, of course, coming from that Jim Johnson style of defense, that aggressive style of defense. They are not afraid to get after it. So this offensive line with Cam Jurgens coming back, this is going to be one hell of a test for Cam Jurgens right out of the gate. This is going to be another big test for Jalen Hurts, obviously. This is going to be another big test for Brian Johnson. I mean, when you really think about this, you think about the coaching advantage here for the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs. Without question, it's on the other side of the football. Steve Spagnuolo taking on Brian Johnson seems like a mismatch to me. The only saving grace about it is that, yes, you still have a Pro Bowl MVP caliber quarterback in Jalen Hurts. that I would love to see throw himself back into the top MVP voting in the NFL. And he certainly will have the opportunity to do that over the next 3 games here. But seeing Jalen Hurts take on that defense and also seeing Nick Sirianni game plan against that defense is something that I am very much looking forward to seeing the fruits of that labor. And I do hope it bears a lot of fruit going forward. But that's one of the things we haven't talked about enough. Yes, talking about the defense, talking about Steve Spagnuolo, but we also talk about the gap here between the Eagles offense and the Eagles offensive minds behind the scenes and the Kansas City Chiefs defensive minds behind the scenes. Offensively, I don't think this Eagles team, talent-wise, it absolutely keeps up with the Kansas City Chiefs. No doubt in my mind. But when it comes to the actual game plan and execution and the strategy behind it all, you want to talk about mismatches? Steve Spagnuolo and Brian Johnson is a glaring mismatch. Now, just like we talk about players getting up for a game like this and being doubted maybe, this has got to be a game where Brian Johnson, you want to talk about pulling focus more than anything? This has got to be a game for Brian Johnson where he is pulling focus more than anything, more than we have seen him pull focus for in his entire, very brief to this point, career as a play caller in the National Football League. You want to get that respect? You go, you beat a guy like Spags, man. You go out and you beat a guy like Spags. That's one of the matchups we haven't talked about enough. Now, Monday, we'll get into more of the one-on-one matchups between this Eagles team, the players themselves, and the defense themselves. Excuse me, and the Kansas City Chiefs as well. So we'll get into that conversation. Hey, let me tell you right now about the great people. Oh, wait, before I get to our ad read, little update. Kelly Oubre, still no evidence of what's going down. I see a lot of people talking about his bike, his little tiny little BMX bike. I was trying to see if he had big pegs on the back of that. Whether or not he was giving like 76ers teammates rides to practice to Camden on that thing. I don't know. They're just hopping on the back of his pegs, hands on his shoulder, and they were just. Could you imagine a 7-foot dude on the back of it? Kelly Oubre is himself, so that's 6'8", 6'7". Somebody hopping on the pegs and going to whatever. Still no evidence. I saw the news last night. Because I still watch the news because I'm 90. They led with 76th place. And basically a town hall meeting that they had. And I saw the Sixers logo, and I went, oh, my God, Kelly Oubre update. Oh, no. So it's about 76th place. Wah, wah. Yeah. And Sixers, by the way, are back at it tonight. Another in-season tournament game. This one against the Atlanta Hawks. Very excited, as you can tell. I am horrified at what their court might look like. I wouldn't mind watching the game in black and white again, but if I got to do it, I'll do it. I don't want to, but if it comes to it, if the NBA yet again makes my eyes bleed with that court, I don't know what Atlantis looks like, but if it makes my eyes bleed, we're going back to black and white. Let me tell you about the amazing people. Oh, my goodness gracious, ladies and gentlemen, at MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Take advantage of all that MyBookie has to offer at MyBookie.ag. And make sure you use promo code Farzy. You see it in the crawl below. Use promo code Farzy for $1,000 redeemable. Take advantage of everything. What do you want to bet on basketball? You want to bet on football? You want to bet on anything they're putting out there? Do it at MyBookie, MyBookie.ag. They got great blackjack tournaments as well. If that's more of your bag, you can take advantage of all that at MyBookie.ag. I'll be looking at the action, of course, for the Chiefs and the Eagles coming up in Monday Night Football. We'll get into that whole slate of games as the season goes on. You can skip the arguments, by the way, over Thanksgiving with Uncle Dave. As Uncle Dave tries to tell you about how much he knows about sports, you can focus on what really matters: good food, boosted odds, and hitting those Turkey Day parlays. All at MyBookie. Picture this: not just watching the games, but turning every second into a potential win with MyBookie. You can stream the games and live bet them, and turn any game day into a big payday. You ready for that game? Sign up today and make sure you take advantage of that first deposit with promo code Farzy with a sweet deposit bonus up to $1,000. That's promo code Farzy to claim your bonus. This isn't just a promo code, ladies and gentlemen. It's your secret weapon. Promo code Farzy, secret weapon, to get the extra edge on the house. Best part is you don't need to be a sports whiz to win at MyBookie. You can cash in on everything from yeah, just want to make sure I got that right. From politics to your favorite shows and then some. Bet on anything, anytime, anywhere, only with MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. Let's get into the chat check and see how you guys are doing on this fine morning. I'm going to start it over on the Jacob Show page. What's going on, Jacob Show page? Swinging. What's up, Swinging? You know what makes me smile, Swinging? That I just say you're the first couple letters of your name, and I leave out the rest, and whoever's in the chat, they can enjoy reading the rest of that. Frederick, what's going on? The Eagles are going to be a force to be reckoned with the second half of this season, getting back key players. The biggest name, Cam Jurgens went out, and it felt like the Eagles' run game went with him. Cam Jurgens now back. Would love to see Cam Jurgens be the difference. On the defensive side of things, Bradley Roby. Very excited to see Bradley Roby and what he can bring to the table as the Eagles slot corner. I don't think Bradley Roby comes back and all of a sudden you're the best pass defense in the NFL again. No. Not there. Not there even a little bit. You know where I am? You know where I am at? They're better than Eli Ricks. They're better than Sidney Brown. And then Sidney Brown can go back and play safety when need be to give anybody else a break. That's what I'm looking forward to. I think I said this yesterday. Eagles are the 4th worst pass defense. They have the 4th highest passer rating allowed. Terrible. Absolutely terrible. I feel like 90% of that is Sam Howell. Anyway. Andrew Dirk, what's up, man? Fly, Eagles, fly. Dynamic. Great name. If the Eagles get back to the Super Bowl, then that would make it personal. Making it personal makes it a distraction. I disagree. Making it personal now makes it a distraction. I see what you're saying. I get your point, Dynamic. I don't think so. I feel like every player, from the players I've talked to over the years, everyone needs that extra added motivation. Everyone needs that extra edge. And players try to find that edge each and every week. And that's why, again, I believe Nick Sirianni is such a great head coach, because he finds that edge each and every week to get his players to a high level. Even in football, where you only have 17 games, I can understand the basketball and hockey and baseball with the longer seasons, especially baseball, where you might need something during that long year with all those games, 82 and 162 and all that stuff, where you might need something else to pull you focus. There's the same thing in football, because a game isn't just a game, it's a whole week. So I think every athlete needs that. From what I have been told, guys will look for those little nuggets of extra added motivation to make sure it's not just motivation, like they get up for every game, but to really have that focus, because I think that's where teams really do look at bulletin board material. Whether it's Nick Sirianni, for instance, last year wearing the Beat Dallas t-shirt and Dallas Cowboys players getting up for that. Like, okay, oh, you want to get into this? Okay, fine. And then the Cowboys handed them their ass in that game. In the first Cowboys-Eagles matchup of the Sirianni era, where the Eagles ran the ball twice with a running back in the first half. What? So that was no bueno. I feel like they do need extra motivation, anything to help them pull focus. I think a guy like Jordan Mailata is just being honest about it. I don't think it's a distraction. And I don't think it's something along the lines of making the game bigger than what it really is. Because this is as big as it gets for an outside NFC opponent, a non-conference opponent. This is as big as it gets. Big Ben, Farzy, love you, man. Love you back, Big Ben. Nice to see you. Do we have enough pieces in our secondary to hold opponents scoring down in the playoffs to actually win? That's the $64 billion question. Good Lord. I want to say yes. Something tells me Darius Slay is better than what we have seen this year. Something tells me James Bradbury has already played his worst game of the season. Reed Blankenship, I think, is doing a fine job this year. The other interesting thing about coming out of the bye is not just what it does for the Eagles in health, but what it does for Kevin Byard in learning his surroundings and everybody else learning him, and Sean Desai learning how to use him best in his defense with these pieces around him. That's the biggest thing. The other part of it is the second half of the season, I think the Eagles are going to be helped tremendously by the fact that Hassan Reddick is healthy. That maybe Brandon Graham's pitch count starts to go up a little bit more. Josh Sweat continues to get after it. A curious thing, and this is going to skew negative, but I think it's a legit question. Jalen Carter has been the defensive rookie of the year for the first half of the year. There is going to be a defensive rookie of the year. There is going to be one. Okay, they're going to have that award again this year, right? Every rookie can hit that wall. I'm curious to see whether or not Jalen Carter hits that wall. I am optimistic that he will not hit some kind of crazy rookie wall. The reason I am is because one of the biggest things said about him from the time he got here was his work ethic. And that always wasn't the case, as we know. Nick Sirianni acknowledged in training camp, in mini camp, that he wasn't in the best shape. And that was horrifying. Because everything that had been said about him up until draft day could be true. Even everything said after draft day could be true. Not really motivated, not really loving football, not in the best of shape, and doesn't have the best work ethic. Oh, man, you don't have a good work ethic in Philadelphia. You dead. We own you, if that's the case, as a fan base. Oh, he's lazy? Oh. But he's about to have a wake-up call. But the fact that none of that stuff has rung true after minicamp has been fantastic. And I love everything I am seeing from Jalen Carter. And I love what I hear from Jalen Carter after games about his motivation and about how he's just there to help the ball club and all that stuff and a real team guy. I love that. That gives me confidence that he's not going to have that kind of hit that rookie wall as the season winds down. But I am curious. I don't know the answer to it. I think I know the answer, but I don't know the answer to it. And I'm looking forward to seeing that the second half of the season. But anyway, I tell you all that to tell you this. As far as the secondary goes, Jalen Carter is going to still produce. Fletcher Cox still has to produce. Brandon Graham obviously has to produce. And then you have to continue to see improvement from guys like Hassan Reddick and Josh Sweat. Those guys all start clicking in high gear. James Bradbury will be fine and dandy, as will Darius Slay, as will your safeties. So that's what I look forward to. Jason A., good morning, Farzy. Hype for Monday. Let's hope the Sixers turn it around tonight. I hope so. I think they will. Trae Young is dropping 23 a game. I can't take back-to-back Sixers losses right now. Excuse me, 3 in a row it would be. I can't deal with that. I can't see the Sixers lose. You know, somebody defended the Celtics to me yesterday in the chat. Later, after the shows, somebody was viewing later on YouTube. It was just like, awful loss. That's a clown comment. And I'm like, how would you describe it? How would you describe it? Losing to a Jaylen Brownless, Kristaps Porzingis-less Celtics team. And other than Kelly Oubre, you got a full roster. Oh, sorry, Nick Batum wasn't healthy. Scoozy, okay? You had your two best out there, and you couldn't pull it together. Andrew, we got it. Wait, CBS? CBS are about the same, if not better than KCS wide receivers? No one can touch A.J. Brown? What is, I don't understand what CBS is. What is no one can touch A.J. Brown. We're going to win it through the air. 375 plus passing yards Monday night for Jay. All right. Andrew Derrick. I'll get that, man. I like that. Terry Hayes, I'm still at work, ready to go home. Gotta love third shift. Ooh, shift work, man. Or lady, Terry. I don't know. Shift work. Woof. Good gracious. Good gracious. Chris Rodriguez just got up for work. Oh, hey, Chris. Good morning. Our corners and their wideouts. Yeah. This would be a good game for them to step up. Hopping over to the Farzy Show page. What's going on? Professor Dutch, good morning and happy Friday. Listening to the full pod later on a hike. Watch out for the poison ivy. Actually, right now, there wouldn't be poison ivy. Would there? Well, no, I had the poison ivy. Is it gone? Oh, it's still a little bit there. Still a little bit there. That was 3 weeks ago, though. So it's been a minute. Thanks for uploading. Thanks for uploading the podcast on time lately. Go Birds. We had a little issue with the podcast getting up there for whatever reason, but I think we fixed the glitch. Sean Kilray, good morning. I need Albert O, 6'5", 258 pounds to step up in a big way. Time is now. No better time than now. Absolutely. April. Good morning, April. A says good morning. A says, let's go Sixers beat the Hawks. 7:30 tip tonight, I believe. James Toast Bradbury is going to get toast. Okay. Hopefully that's the case. A, I think Oubre really got hurt performing tricks on his BMX bike. So the embarrassment factor with Kelly Oubre has certainly played in to my decision-making on judging the whole situation. The only... What's the word here? The only defense that I can give, legitimate defense that I can give Kelly Oubre in his story being legitimate. If you're trying, like, obviously I don't know Kelly Oubre. I don't know what went on. But the fact that he is new to Philadelphia, that he doesn't really know the city, and the fact that he went home, I could totally understand him not knowing where it happened. Especially if you really got clipped, if you really got hit by a car, you're kind of disoriented. You don't know what the hell just happened. You're like, what the hell? And he really got hurt. And from that ring cam video, it certainly looks like he got hit hard. And if he's going back to his lady or whoever he's going back to, I don't know, and she's asking what happened, and he says, I got hit by a car, I don't think it would be the first time that he would say, oh, I tried to do a trick and I got hurt. Again, like that, I feel like that would happen. But the thing that I would use as his defense, if I'm defending him in the court of public opinion, if you then go to you get hit, you mosey on back to your house, you hobble back to your apartment, and then you go to the hospital a little while later because you have trouble breathing, and they say, what happened? You say, I got hit by a car. Oh my God, where? Duh. By the time you get hit, physically gather yourself to get up and walk, mentally gather yourself to figure out what the hell's going on, and then you get home, and then you go to the hospital, and then they're asking where it happened. You're like, I don't even know my own zip code at this point. Do you think Kelly Oubre even knows his own zip code at this point? I don't think so. Do you think he knows that it's Broad Street, not Broadway? Like, do you think he understands that? I don't know. That's what I would say. Let's go Sixers. Bradbury is definitely one of the players that worries me the most in this game. Yeah, this would be one hell of a get-right game. This would be one hell of a get-right game as far as I'm concerned. What else do we got here? Back on the Jacob Media Show page. Eric, what's going on? Spags' defense approach will be tricky to stop with the pressure of the wide receivers and pass rush. It's not going to be easy. That bike might have been left on the hallway. Possibly. Nick Batum back tonight? I don't know. I don't know the severity of the injury, but I like having him. And I like Nico. Nico's a fun one. Nico's a fun name to say. Nico Batum, welcome to the party, pal. Welcome to the party. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are fantastic as per usual. Looking at tonight's game for the 76ers, taking on the Atlanta Hawks. It is a 7:30 tip tonight. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, SkyMotorcars.com. So far to this season, the Atlanta Hawks are 6-5 on the year. Trae Young is averaging just over 23 points a night. 21 points per game. No, 23.5 points per game is what he's averaging. Jeez, I am not looking at the stats right today. 56 tackles for losses would be a record, by the way. They are coming off a loss against the New York Knicks, a close one, 116-114. And they are hosting the Sixers tonight in Atlanta. Flyers aren't back on the ice till tomorrow night. They face one of the best teams in the NHL in the Golden Knights. So we got a little bit of time to watch the Flyers. They're back in tomorrow afternoon, in South Philly against that squad. So we'll see how that breaks out for the Flyers. One thing I did not talk about was this week, and I'm ashamed that I haven't because it's so crazy. Draymond Green putting Rudy Gobert in a chokehold and now getting a 5-game suspension. Hell yeah. I like Draymond Green. So let me just say that for the record. I'm not someone that thinks like he's, just wants to go around hurting people. But good God, man. When you just run up on somebody, and it wasn't even like Rudy Gobert. It looked like Rudy Gobert was looking to play peacemaker more so than anything. And Draymond Green is the friend that takes it to the wrong level. You might be play fighting, you know what I mean? You might be like, hey, what's up, sport? And you give him a little, hit to the arm or whatever. And then he tries to karate chop your head off as a retaliation. That's Draymond Green. And it was like, whoa, when he went in there, the chokehold. Rudy Gobert was like, seriously? I was just trying to get these guys apart. So when the NBA came in with a 5-game suspension, I was like, yeah, that's about right. That seems appropriate. But good God, man. I hadn't made a comment on it until this point. And wow, Draymond Green does not know the minute he senses danger, he's in go mode. You know what he is? He's the popular the clip that's now running around on social media from the movie The Town, where Ben Affleck goes up to Jeremy Renner and he's just like, I got to go. We got to head some people. I heard him with the JFK, wrong Boston accent. And then Jeremy Renner is just like, who's Cowboy taking? That's Draymond Green. Somehow magically. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. I thought it was peaceful. Jason, they saying Draymond's a rider. He is a ride or die to the millionth degree. I agree. But I didn't think Rudy Gobert was going in there to mess stuff up. I thought Rudy Gobert was going in there to break stuff up. Draymond, maybe what he saw is what you saw, Jason. Oh, you're trying to touch my teammate? Well, yeah, guys are fighting. It's time to get involved. First off, in basketball, I'm tired of all the BS. They should just take both guys like they do in hockey, put them in center court, have them in the circle, and say, go at it. Have at it. That's what they should do. Now, maybe I'm a barbarian, but I feel like that'd be very entertaining. Anyway, thanks, everybody. Appreciate you guys. We'll be back with you guys on Monday ahead of Eagles, Chiefs, kicking it off on Monday night. Until then, have a great rest of your weekend, everybody. Enjoy your Friday. My name is Mark Farzy. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie, mybookie.ag. Jim Hyden produced the program. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you guys on Monday. Bye.